Hello everybody, thank you for joining me again today. I'm Lee from theCraftySpark.co.uk and today we are going to make a sprocket photo album. You know the sprocket? It's that little handheld photo printer that you can get, which you link up to your phone and then you can print your photos out from it. Very cute, very sweet. Being perfectly honest, I don't have one. Which might sound a little bit bizarre, but I do have a sprocket addict friend. Now she knows exactly who she is and she always watches my videos, so when you are next round here I will give this to you, and in the meantime I'm going to show you how you can make one yourself. Now the paper I'm using today is the Share What You Love Share What You Love Speciality Designer Series paper. That's what it's called, and it's brilliant. It's a bit thicker than our usual paper, but not as thick as cardstock, which is good because it makes it a bit more sort of pliable. And it's brilliant, this pack. You get loads. What do you get? You get 24 sheets of, 24 sheets. Hang on, let me read it properly. Let's see what it says. 24 sheets for £25. So loads, absolutely loads. But I've chosen this one. Now when you make this, it doesn't really matter, well I don't think it matters which way round you have your paper or your pattern. It's really entirely up to you, whatever you want. Now I'm going to do, I'm going to score this side first, and the reason I'm going to do that is, although this is, this is actually going to be the outer of the album, I'm going to score on this side because hopefully you'll be able to see the score lines a bit better. I mean, obviously I'm going to list all the scoring measurements and everything, but it just might make it a little bit easier for you to see where I'm scoring. Now, this paper measures 11.5 by 10 inches. 11.5 by 10. And I'm going to start with the 11 inches across the top. And we're going to do this one first. I hope I'm in the camera here. I think I am. Yeah. Right. Let me get the right end of my scoring tool, otherwise I'll end up cutting holes in it. Okay. Now, so with your 11 inches across the top, we are going to start at 3 5/8, 3 7/8, and then we're going to go to 7.5 and 7 7/8. So a little bit wider on that one. Okay, turn your paper round. 2 3/8 is our first score, then 5, then 7 5/8. Okay, now then, before I do anything else with it, I'm actually going to fold and burnish because it will make it easier for me to see where I'm going to be cutting. So I'm just going to blend all these round. And the reason it doesn't really matter what side I scored on either is because once I've done this side and burnished it all, those little ones are a little bit tricky, so just be a bit careful when you fold them. Yeah, when I've done this side, I'm actually going to turn over and do the other side because I want to make sure that it bends nice and easily, and also it will break down the fibres a bit in the paper, which is almost as thick as cardstock, and it will help to make sure that when it's actually folded up with the photo mats in, it's not actually gonna sort of all bust apart on me either, because that'd be the worst thing. Could you imagine making something for somebody and then you give it to them and it's all nice and pretty and lovely, and they use it and it breaks. Nah, that would not be fun at all, would it? So by doing this, it just loosens it right up, makes it much easier, much more bendy. Look at that, bendy windy. Okay, right, that's stupidity. Okay, paper trimmer. If you don't have a paper trimmer, you could do this by scissors if you wanted to. I'm going to use my trimmer because it's just much easier. And what I'm going to do, this is where it might be a bit harder for you to see. If you look, I'll put that there. That's it. Yeah, that's good for you. That's the ridge from the score line there. I'm going to cut on the outer side of those ridges. All right. So not on the inner bit, cut on the outer bit. Okay. And I'm going to cut to the first score line and then skip the next two and do the last one. All right, you'll see in a minute what it looks like, and then it will probably make a bit more sense for you. So I'm just going to see where the score line is, because there's lines on this side. It makes it a bit tricky to see, doesn't it? Right, there's my first one. So I'm going to cut up to the first one, miss the next two. Can't see. Go on to, that's it, the last one, and cut up from there. And then I'm going to do the same, but on the outer side of the other score line. So just down to that first score line, and then the last one on off again. All right. So I've now got a little flap here. Yeah, and I'm going to do the same on the other bit as well. So where you've got the other two score lines that are close together, score on those one, not score, cut on the outside of those ones, move it over, cut on the outside, and don't forget, just down to the first score line and then that last score line. Okay, right, move your cutter, and you've now got flappy bits. See? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut them off because we don't want those bits. So just take a pair of sharp scissors carefully, because you don't want to cut this bit. Cut them off. Now if you bend your paper back like I am before you cut, you'll find it much easier to actually get a clean cut, because if you try and do it when it's in place and you've got to bend around it, it gets really quite tricky and you end up with a bit of a mess, really. Ask me how I know that. Oh no, I've gone all squiffy again. Hang on, let me lift it up and do it. Because I'm standing rather than sitting, I think. Maybe I should just sit down. Nah. There we go. That's it. So that is what you are left with. Now for this next bit, you can either use some big scissors or you can go back to your trimmer again. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut some pockets, but fancy pockets. Okay. Now when I first did this, I was getting all the pockets all round the wrong way and back to front, and I was getting really quite frustrated with it. So I found a little trick. Hopefully this will help you too. Fold your two sides in at the bottom. Start there. And you're going to cut from this corner to that corner, and then this corner to that corner. So I found that if I hold the bit I don't cut, I can actually cut the right corner. So from that corner, just nice straight line up to that one. Like I said, use your paper cutter if you want to. Entirely up to you. See, concentrating. If you see any of my videos, you know that I don't talk when I'm not concentrating. Right, so that's given us this weird shape. Now we're going to do the same thing at the bottom. So when those two fold in, they're that way, and we want these ones at the bottom to go that way. Alright, so again, I'm going to hold that bit first. I only actually do it on one of them, but it's just enough so that I know where I'm going. I mean, it's quite easy if you think about it. It's just from the outside edge to the inner edge, but my brain doesn't always acknowledge that. Gets a little bit confused. Right, outer to inner, there we go. Okay, so if I turn it around that way, you'll be able to see it better. Now, that is what we're left with right now. Okay, now we're gonna grab some glue, and you need to do a very, very thin line. Don't go big lines or anything. If you've got some really narrow tape, like really narrow tape, you might want to use that. I did try it with this one, you know, this red tape. Oh, how big is that? I think that's the 4mm one, and it was just a bit too much. So I decided to go with glue instead, but you may prefer it. You may even have a different glue you want to use, or a different applicator for your glue. That would be good, wouldn't it? So can you see it's just no, very, very thin line. Fold it over, get it all over your fingers, stick it down. Now I want to make sure that's really firmly stuck, so I'm just going to give it a good rub with my bone folder. There we are. I'm doing the same on this one. In fact, I'm going to do the same on all 4 of them. So if I just fast forward this for you, because I'm sure you know how to put glue on paper. You don't really need me showing you. Put glue on the paper, do you? Okay. Back in a minute. There we go with that. Now, we've done these 2 ends, but you're probably wondering, why haven't we done this yet? I'm going to show you this in just a sec, but before I do that, I'm going to move on to the actual photo mats that are going to go into this. So if I just push that up there for a minute. Now, the photo mats, I've already made 4 of them, and these measure 3 1/4 by 2 1/2, and then the white panel, which is obviously where the photo is going to be stuck, that measures 3 1/8 by 2 3/8. All right, and what I've done is I used the Amazing Life stamp set, and I used this little corner thing here, just to add a little bit of interest in the corners. Now the actual Sprocket photos are 2 inches by 3 inches, so obviously when you put a 2 inch by 3 inch on here, if I show you the ruler, if you match your photo up sort of close to the edge, come out by 2 inches, you've actually got a gap at the bottom, which is about the same size as these. Now the reason for that is so that you can write something on there. Alright, you might decide to write the date or someone's name, or I don't know, whatever you want. So I've stuck them on, plain on the back at the moment, but I've stuck them on. I've rounded the corners first, popped it on, so that is going to be one photo mat, and that will just tuck really nicely in there, like that. Actually, let's put it over to the side. There we go. Alright. Now, I was kind of in 2 minds what to do with this bit, but then I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go for it. On the back, I'm actually going to stamp this little flower. Now, it doesn't match the paper. I know that. It's not part of the suite that the paper's in. Honestly, I really don't think it matters. Does it make any difference? Because at the end of the day, if you actually look at the paper, it's flowers, isn't it? And although you've got, what, 5 petals and that's got 4. Well, you know, a flower is a flower is a flower. That's the way I look at it anyway. So I'm going to use this one, and I wanted to show you these. Now this is a stamping spot, and basically what it is, it's a mini ink pad, and we have them uninked. They're in the catalogue. Oh, I was going to see what page they're on there. Hang on, let me see if I can find it quick. No, I can't find it. I'll put the link under the video for you anyway. But basically you get a pack of plain mini ink pads so that you can use your ink refills to put extra ink on, and they're perfect when you're only doing something very small, when you don't want the big ink pads. These are ideal. So as you can see, whoops, upside down, rich razzleberry is the colour I'm using, and I'm just going to pop some ink on my stamp and then just stamp it on the back. Now the cardstock is rich razzleberry, the ink is rich razzleberry, so it's only going to leave a very subtle picture, imagey picture, if you want to call it, but it's enough that it's actually going to look really nice. Now I was going to do all different ways, but I've ended up doing the same. It's because I'm chatting. Never mind. Whoops, better turn that over first, didn't I? Otherwise I'll really mess it up. There we go. Now when you're using photopolymer stamps, they do stain. Don't panic. It's absolutely fine. You're not messing your stamp up. It's not going to transfer to a different ink pad or anything. It's just because it's photopolymer and it's nice and soft, rather than cheap crappy acrylic ones that you get from places like AliExpress and that sort of thing. You get a good image, which is what you're after. Right, so we have 4 mats. They're all ready. I'm going to leave those for a second, and I want to show you how I'm going to do this middle one. First thing I want to do is cut down these edges, but I don't want to cut it too tight. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to use my double-sided tape as a guide. You'll see why in a minute. I want about, how much do I want? I don't know, 1/2 centimetre? Yeah, about 1/2 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to put that on first. And that will then give me my guideline for how much I need to go with this. Okay, so come off. Done that side. Now I'm also going to do this side as well, and the reason that tape is sticking out is so I can see exactly where I need to go on this side. This one's not out quite as far, but I can just about see where it is. About there. Right. Whoops. That is going to give me a guideline, because working on this side now, I've got a plain mat, and that is going to go there, but I need to make sure it's not going to go over. So if I switch over, pop it there, there's my centre line. I can feel it. I know you can't see it, but I can feel it. So I need to make sure I go up to that line, but no further, because I don't want to go over. You see that? Probably not. Come on, if I bend it that way, that's it. You'll be able to see it now, won't you? So I don't want to go over this fold, so I'm just going to go just in a little bit, not too much. All right. Let's take off this backing tape. Come on. There we go. That's better. So I want to go to about there, wasn't it? Just a bit. Okay. Now, because I'm doing this as an album, the other thing I need to make sure I don't do is make the inside too bulky, because otherwise when it's all nicely folded up you won't be able to get photos in there. So I've stuck that on, I'm actually going to chop off that big chunk. Alright, and because I know it's going to be alright this side, I'm going to cut this off anyway, but I just wanted to show you how I lined it up and made sure that I had enough where I needed it to be. Okay, I still haven't taken off this yet. I'm not going to just at this moment, because the next thing I want to do is put the mats on. Now, using snail is fine because it's acid free, so it's absolutely fine for your pictures. When you're using photos, you need to make sure that any adhesive you've got is acid free, otherwise you might find, if you're not careful, that you end up after a while with your pictures going funny and fading and just looking a bit yucky. Where's it gone? Poke tool. There we are. Now I've put that mat on one side. Now I'm going to peel off the rest of that. Whoops. And I've got another mat. And this one is going to go on the other side. And then our rich Razzleberry mat here will act for both sides. See? Genius, eh? There. Can you see how that works? It's quite good, isn't it? Tidy up time. So, with scissors, just go for this side so I can see. I'm just going to snip just along the side, just up to that score line. There we go. And then I can cut that off. And although the mat doesn't go right the way to the bottom of this little flap that we've just made, because the inside is coordinating colour, it actually still carries on the frame. There you go, you can see it a bit better there, can't you? Alright, now I'm just going to do the other side, so just talk among yourselves or something while I do a fast forward on this side, and I will be right back again. So I have all our sides on, so now I can show you how it folds. So these two are going to come into the middle, photo mats on both sides, and when I say photo mats, you could actually write on it if you wanted to, or you could write on there, wherever you like really. One in each pocket, because they are now nice and dry. And you remember when we were actually scoring it, we've got one side is a bit bigger than the other, these little lines here. It's so that it can actually take the thickness with the photo mats in, because the way we're going to fold now is it's going to go over. Now you might need to keep flattening this, and this is another reason why I had to keep moving it. Then it will go fold, that's on the narrow side first, and then on the wider side. And can you see, if you look down there, you've actually still got enough space to put some photos in as well, because there's no point making an album like this if you can't actually get the photos in it. You're ending up sort of, well, a bit silly, isn't it really? Basically, you're kind of gone all around the wrong way. Now, to make a closure for it, I have got a 3 1/4 inch punch. Somewhere I have got a flower that I've already coloured in. Ah, there it is. That's from the same stamp that we used just now. And what I've done, I've coloured it with blends, but not very well. That's intentional because it's kind of watercolory, isn't it? So I don't want to do it exactly and then look out of place. Now I'm going to use a scrap of the Rich Razzleberry cardstock and punch out a 3 1/4 inch circle. Onto there is going to go the flower. So we pop that on first. Now I'm using glue because this needs to be strong. If it's not strong, it's not going to work. You'll see why in a minute. I say that quite a lot actually, don't I? You see why in a minute. Oh well, never mind. Alright, there we are. Pop that on there. Okay, so we have that one. Then I want my dimensional. They're gone. They're in the drawer. Let's find the one with a sum on it. I've actually got someone with this somewhere, but I don't know where, so I'm just going to use these ones that were in the drawer. Now, this is, that's not very much left. This is Blackberry Bliss, Baker's Twine, and this is from the Nature's Twine, I think it's called. You get Blackberry Bliss and Crumb Cake and Grapefruit Grove. And I'm going to be using this for our closure. So what I want to do, first off, is put a dimensional on the back of that. Okay, now this is where we get technical, because with my pokey tool I'm actually gonna separate these fibers out because I want them flat. I don't want them all open like that. So I'm separating them all out to make them nice and flat, like that. Okay, and then taking the backing off of that dimensional, I'm going to put that on the back and just spread those fibres out on the back of that dimensional. Now, if I didn't do this, the twine is quite thick and it wouldn't stick properly. So by doing this and spreading it out, I know it's going to stick. There, I'll hold it up to the camera. You see that? Yeah? Now I've done that, I'm actually going to put glue on top of it. I know it's like glue on glue on glue, isn't it? But of course I've covered up a lot of the sticky on that dimensional, so it's not going to stick. So I've put some glue on top of that, and now I'm going to pop this, I don't know, about there I reckon, on the cards, on the album. Now I'm just going to stick my finger on there for a minute and hold it so that it sticks properly. Because it's got the twine in there as well, it will take slightly longer than you would usually sort of be waiting. So don't rush it, just make sure it's stuck, because if it's not stuck, this next bit is not going to work and you're going to end up making a big mess. Right, that should be quite solid now. Yeah, okay. Now, very gently, I'm just curling the edge very, very carefully up, just slightly, because obviously where I've had my fingers stuffed on it, it's kind of squished it a little bit. I'm just making sure. Yeah, I think that's dried. We'll go with yes. Try being off camera there. I was trying to look down there and make sure it was stuck, but yeah, I'm sure it is. So to close this lovely little gorgeous thing, just grab your twine now, wrap it round a couple of times, and then round in a circle under there. You see? And it's acted as a really cute little closure for you. Obviously we don't need this much, so I'm going to cut that bit off. But I am going to leave just a little bit. In fact, yeah, I'll just, no I won't, yes I will, no I won't, yes I will, no I won't, yes I will. What I'm going to do. I'm just going to tie a knot in it first. Whoops. I'm going to tie a knot because I'm just going to, I want it too tight. I'm going to cut just past that knot, about a finger width past it, because I'm just going to unravel it. I just think it looks pretty. If it wants to unravel anyway. There we go, that's better. That's it. So, there we have our little sprocket album. Undo it by just unwinding your twine. Whoop, pull it round. I'm not sure that was really stuck properly, but it's okay. And then you can open up your album, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 places where you can actually put your beautiful pictures. Well, you could even make extra panels and put them there as well, and have 10. Entirely up to you, but I'm going to stay with 8 because I think 10 might be pushing it a bit much and it might not close up properly. So we are done for today. I know this has been quite a long video, but I wanted to make sure I explained it all properly so that you knew what you were doing. Oops, hang on, I will close it. There we are. There, done and finished. Now, everything that I've used today is going to be listed underneath the video. Everything that you need to make this, all the products and the measurements, will be on my blog. Everything is going to be there for you. So if you missed anything on the video, just go and check on the blog post. The blog post is listed underneath this video, and if there's anything there that you want so that you can make this yourself, just click on the links and it will take you straight through to my shop. I will be back again very soon with some more projects for you, but until then, bye for now.